There was a city called Tamai. The city economic depends on farming. Most of the people are poor. They produce crops, then they sell what they grow. Their governor called David Marco. Most of the farmers liked him because he was very nice to them and cared about them. But they didn't like his older son because he is bad and corrupted. His name was John Marco. The governor kicked his son out of the city. One day, John Marco came to the city with machines. The farmers looked at the machines. It looked strange to them. The machines are oil detectors used to detect oil in the ground. Then the governor came and took his son to his office. The governor said to him, "Why are you here?" He replied, "I came for the future, Dad." He continued, "I came to change people's life. I want to bring happiness to them." His father replied, "Tell me how." His son replied, "You will be proud of me." Then John went out. One of the engineers came to John Marco and told him, "Things are going good, sir." John Marco replied with a grin, "Good work." Later, a letter came to the governor's office. The letter was from the Ministry of Agriculture. The letter said to the governor, We want you to inform the farmers that their lands converted from agricultural lands to residential lands because the soil became unuseful for farming." The governor became shocked because he knew that the farmers are poor. They didn't have any resources except farming. So he thought that the decree would bring starvation to the people. The letter you have sent it does not based in scientific facts. The soil is so good for farming. On the other hand, those people are poor. They have a lot of needs. This law will put a bad effect on them. It could be a disaster for them. John Marco takes over his dad and officially became the governor of Tamai. John's plans was to take a revenge on people, and he wanted to become a rich person in the city. He persuades the people to sell their lands to Adam Rashford, a big businessman, and he is the owner of the big oil company. But people became mad at the new law, so they want to make resistance. David Marco tried to persuade the people to don't sell their land to the businessman. He also gathered farmers to make revolutionary coalition. They made a case to the Supreme Court in the country, but they failed. They all felt sad about that, but David Marco didn't stop. John Marco has now turned the side to play a game with his father because his father was extremely against him. John Marco was in the poor position. Rich people were planning to do business with John in the city, which could include illegal things. Their business could harm people badly and their lives. The oil company started to dig in oil explorers to extract oil. The poor people who sold their farms became workers in the new company. At first months, they produced 10,000 barrels. One barrel cost $40. The oil company got a huge revenue from that. Despite the big revenue, they gave the new workers lower wages from what they promised them. Most of the people became in bad situation. Families need a lot of money to live, but they couldn't afford the money. A lot of people became sick, so they need good health care, but they couldn't find it because of the lack of their income. Day by day, farmers sold their land because they are poor, and they promised high wages if they became workers in the new company. Life became more difficult, and a lot of people suffered. One of them, called Peter Miller, he had 7 children. He stood against the new governor and the businessman, but his land taken by force. He went to David Marco and he said to him, "We should fight. We shouldn't be sissified." Those words encouraged David Marco to move on and raise those poor people. John Marco gathered the people of the city and said, "O people, don't let anyone to take advantage on you because of your poverty. Don't let anyone to steal your freedom. You should fight back for your lives and the lives of your grandson. We should go and protest against those people who steal your food and your happiness." All people of the town became enthusiastic about and marched and said, "John, John, move away. We need our lands today." Protesters found a lot of violence, but they insisted on continuing. The press and the media showed everything to other people in the other cities. As a time passed, John Marco became hopeless. One day, the people were protesting. David Marco attacked by one of the officers, and he died. After David Marco's death, people became crazy. They went to and destroyed the machines in the factory, and they burned the governor's office. When John Marco heard his father's death, he felt guilty about that, and he went to commit suicide. After those bad events, some of the wise people stopped the protesters from damaging their city. Then the wise men asked for new elections to choose a new governor. They, they chose one man called Stephen Miller. He was a good governor. He helped the people to get back on their foot. The day of David Marco's death became an event of sadness every year. The people decided to wear black in that day. Questions: what resources Tamai had? They had farms and they have oil in the ground. What limited resource they have? They have oil in the ground. Give an example of capital resources in the story. Capital resources in the story was farming tools and the oil explorers and the oil detectors. What land resources was in Tamai? Lands and farms. There are labor resources in Tamai? Yes, the labor resources were the farmer. And then they became workers in the new company. Give example of scarcity in the story. Adam Rashford is a businessman. He have limited resource, which is oil, and for unlimited needs of money. Unlimited needs of money. Give an example of entrepreneur resource, Adam Rashford. What David Marco value? He values the farmers. What goods produce in Tamil? Oil and crops. What farmers produce? They produce crops.